You know I'm right. The Wrestlemania edition coming to you live and in living color across all social media platforms and our YouTube page. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Calabrese. And Joe, it's a big weekend. You know, I hate that it's 2 days, but this is a year where I could say it shouldn't be 2 days because there's so many filler matches that I just don't care about. But I mean, I'm pumped up, Joe. I'm pumped up for Wrestlemania weekend. Well, how about you?
Get excited for WrestleMania weekend. I know you're an old man. You didn't like the 2 nights at first. It's better with the 2 nights.
It's not fair to the consumer us to goes there. You got to pay double now to go there. So, but listen, we're going to talk about this. We got some great guests joining us here today. First, we'll bring up a friend of our show. Both guys, former guests with us. First, Justin Fensterman. Justin, welcome to the show. We know he's a big Paul Heyman guy, so he'll be locked in for the Hall of Fame tonight. Justin, are you excited for WrestleMania week?
I mean, you're just saying that, Durst, because I look like Paul Heyman. Let me tell you.
You told us on our show that you
the wise man
Jew in jiu-jitsu, so I had to bring it up.
I am still that. I do put the Jew in jiu-jitsu, but thank you guys so much for having me. It's going to be a great weekend starting with the Hall of Fame. And yeah, I liked it all on one night, but there's just too many talents that you got to showcase on a majorly followed weekend.
There's a lot of good talents, and joining us as well, Robin Lundberg. Robin, obviously, WrestleMania is huge, but the best wrestlers don't wrestle in WWE. They wrestle in AEW, if you ask Adam Copeland. But does anything beat WrestleMania, Robin?
Well, look, I mean, there are some really good, work rate wrestlers over in AEW. But when it comes to star power and performance in the ring too, it just isn't going to get any better than WrestleMania. And you're sneak hating a little bit on the 2-night thing and throw it. There's like 1 or 2 matches that I could say are pre-show matches. The rest of them are kind of bangers. I mean, I think what is it, 6-7 matches each night? Yeah, I would say
7-6 is the split.
Yeah, I'd say there's 10 bangers and 2 like
Whatever happened to the Mae Young Battle Royal? They just scrapped it after COVID, and I guess tonight on SmackDown we're getting a whole hour, the second hour of the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which used to be a WrestleMania thing, but not anymore.
It should be on WrestleMania. The men's should be on one night, and the women's the other night on both pre-shows.
On the pre-show. Right. But right now, I think everything's just too squished together. There's really no way to go around it. I don't like the Hall of Fame after SmackDown. It starts too late. NXT at 12 o'clock. I mean, that's crazy. But I'm glad the Slammies are back, but they're going to be on Twitter or something. So we'll see Sunday morning. Always love the Slammies, but you don't get that red carpet preview show you used to get anymore with the Hall of Fame after on SmackDown on Friday. Justin, what's your favorite part of the WrestleMania weekend?
I don't think there's enough wrestling going on this weekend, guys. There's 8 freaking events now. I mean, for me, ultimately, I got to go with WrestleMania. That's the big cheese. That's why we're really watching this stuff, okay?
All right. How about you, Robin? What's your favorite part of everything?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's WrestleMania. I mean, I'm going with my son tomorrow. We're leaving for Philly in the morning. We're going to go to WWE World and then over to WrestleMania. And I'm excited. I'm dubbing this night 1 is WrestleMania Infinity War, and night 2 is WrestleMania Endgame. That's the way it's going to work out.
Joe, I don't look too far ahead, but I think the pop of the weekend might be if Trick Williams debuts on Raw on Monday, because everyone's going to want to whoop that trick.
Whoop that trick.
Big star in the making, perhaps. We'll see. We're not going to talk NXT on this show. That's the only match I'm interested in. But we'll start with you, Joe. Like, before we get into the matches here, which match are you not even interested in? Like, that's going to be your. I'll check my phone and go on Twitter break or whatnot.
I'm interested in everything. I love everything that's going on. I'm not like you.
All right. How about you, Justin? Any match you don't care for?
I don't care about the LWO versus Santos Escobar.
Bingo! Nailed it.
I care about Dom Mysterio and Santos Escobar, but I don't care about the LWO side of it. I'd honestly, guys, and I know this would never happen, obviously, with the faces and heels, I'd rather see Dirty Dom versus Santos Escobar in a singles match than this tag match.
Well, I'm a little, did you see Robin last week? I mean, Carlito was not happy that Dragon Lee is getting this spot, so Carlito might be perhaps costing Rey Mysterio the match. What do you think
about them apples for Carlito, right? I mean, when you look at this match itself, those are the two. The two are that tag match. But here's the thing about it: you're going to get to see Rey Mysterio. who's a legend. You're going to get to see Dragon Lee, who's great in the ring. And we get to boo Dominic Mysterio, which I'm very much looking forward to. But I would agree, it's that match, and then it's the Bobby Lashley Street Profits Final Testament match on the other night. Those
Philadelphia street fight. Don't know what difference is between that and a regular street fight or a New York street fight. Maybe they take the streets of Philly, get some cheesesteaks there. But let's look at the matches since we just talked about the tag match. Mysterio and Lee versus Mysterio and Santos Escobar. According to Bet Online, our source here for the betting, the favorites are Dirty Dom and Santos. I'm a little surprised by that. I personally think that this match will end with Rey Mysterio pinning Santos Escobar. But maybe, like I said, Carlito turns heel. We'll start with you, Joe. What do you think for this match?
Yeah, I think they teased it a little bit because Carlito hasn't been wearing the LWO shirts, right? So there's this thing that they're kind of doing on SmackDown. I think Carlito is going to get involved in this, actually. I think this is appropriately placed, actually, because Santos and Dominic are minus 250 favorites. And they also had to figure out a way to get Dom on the card because for a while it was just the Judgment Day and the tag ladder match and Rhea defending the women's world title. So, again, we had the opportunity to boo Dom. But I definitely think this is going to be like the dawning of a new story with the LWO coming out of WrestleMania. I think Dom is kind of leaning and teasing to the fact that he's going to leave the Judgment Day. So we'll see how that plays out. But I do think Santos and Dominic are going to win.
So Dom's going to leave the Judgment Day for LWO, perhaps. What do you think, Fensty?
I don't know why they would have him leave and go to the LWO because he's been such a great heel. I mean, who gets a bigger boo than him? And you would think it's maybe forced at this point. It's not. They boo him more than they boo anybody else on that card on either day. So why not just keep having him grow naturally like that? I think it's going to be going to Santos and Dom for that reason. Both of these guys, they're on their way up. They need the push. You need to legitimize them a little bit more. And let's also not forget about the Rey Mysterio Dom matchup last year too. So now I think Dom gets the rub here this time.
This definitely feels like should have been a backlash match, but we'll see if that's the way it goes. Dom should get the pinfall. What do you think, Robin?
Yeah, I think Dom has to win or go over Dom and Santos because they built up Santos as a single star and Dom, already had his thing with Rey. There's no benefit on the other side. Rey's a legend. It doesn't matter what happens with him. And Dragon Lee is really good in the ring, but I don't think they're building him towards something right at this moment. They've put a lot of energy into turning Santos into a single star, and Dominic Mysterio, as much heat as he gets, you don't want him eating pins left and right. So I think this is a perfect scenario for those two to go over.
Well, can't wait for the Dom Mysterio face turn at some point. I don't know if it's going to work out too well. The next match that we'll discuss is going to be the match that opens up WrestleMania, and that's going to be the women's title match for the women's world title match. Rhea Ripley, the champ, taking on Becky Lynch. I'll go last for this one because I have a lot to say, but Rhea Ripley is the favorite, heavy favorite, minus 500. We'll go in reverse order here. Robin, you kick us off on this one.
Yeah, that's the lock of maybe the entire event. Rhea Ripley's winning this match. Rhea Ripley is going to go back-to-back years, beating Charlotte Flair and beating Becky Lynch. Mommy is now the man.
Oh, all right, Justin, what do you think?
Hey, to go off of what Robin was just saying, Mommy's always on top for a reason. So Rhea Ripley is winning this matchup. She's got such great momentum on her side. I don't think that this is going to be the start of the end of the Judgment Day. She's the real leader of that Judgment Day. She's far better than anybody in the division, including Becky, and especially while Charlotte's hurt. So I think not only does she win this match and retain, I think she holds it for maybe even the next full year too.
Oh, jeez. What do you think?
Yeah, Nick doesn't want to hear that. She is the Roman Reigns of the women's division, and I think her reign to play off of the point that Nick is about to make. I think the Raw roster last year in terms of the women's side was a little thin, so I think it really took a little while for Rhea Ripley's reign to kind of get entertaining. Now that she's kind of prepared herself for Becky coming up, I think this is her first major story. I do think she's going to retain. I think this has been one of the best stories on the card so far. I like the fact that we've seen the WWE stars kind of go on other shows. You saw Rhea Ripley go on Ariel's Helwani show on ESPN a couple of days ago, and Becky showed up and kind of made her presence known. So it kind of feels like this is personal. Feels like this is good, and I agree. I think Rhea Ripley's going to win. I think she's the lock of the weekend.
Well, I thought Becky was going to win. Then I heard, she doesn't have a contract here. So I don't know what to think. All I could say is that this Rhea Ripley title reign has been the worst I've ever seen for women. I think the Nikki Cross was better. Rhea Ripley should not have been champion because her whole storyline the last 12 months has not been about the women's championship. She's been in the men's matches, and it would have behooved them to have her not be champion so that people who are not in a storyline could get on TV and get some airtime. I can't stand Rhea Ripley. Nia Jax should have beat her. Raquel Rodriguez should have beat her. Liv Morgan should have beat her. Enough with the Rhea Ripley.
What's the name of this podcast? I think you're going to have to
see Rhea Ripley lose the championship.
I think this podcast needs a brand overhaul after that comment on Rhea Ripley, because she's the biggest star. I mean, when you look at The Rock's on a whole different level because of who he is in The Rock. But you take away The Rock, and it is Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, the three biggest stars in the company.
Nick, can I ask you a semi-serious question?
Oh boy.
Sure.
Do you watch wrestling? Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to ask. I don't know how you don't like her title reign at all.
I can't stand Rhea Ripley. I can't stand her.
She's been great. She's literally, like Joe said it best, she's been the female Roman Reigns for that reason. She's been the woman Roman Reigns.
Mommy's going to come after him soon.
It's time for Roman Reigns to lose the title too. We'll get to that later. But Rhea Ripley, my whole point was I thought that the reign was not well. She was like randomly popping me up. Let me have a match with this person. Like, I didn't like the fact that we have the women's champion in all these men's storylines where there's other women on the roster who are just sitting there not doing anything. And the title was.
They can't measure up to her. She's like China. They can't measure up to her. What did they have to do with China? Put her in the IC division.
Well, China was barely women's champion. All right, I got to move on. We're not going to disagree. I'll be on the New York Post tomorrow afternoon talking about this with Dexter Henry. So you can check me out there talking.
Mommy haters. The mommy lovers is going to come after him real soon.
I don't care. I'll take all I can get. Good. Any buzz is good buzz here in the business. Let's talk about the women's match that just kind of thrown together the last second. The 6 women's tag match. Jade Cargill going to make her debut, teaming with Bianca Belair and Naomi. Naomi walks out last year because she doesn't want to be in tag team matches, so they'll up the stakes and do a 3-on-3 with her. They're taking on Damage Control, or as I like to call them, Damage Control Alt Delete. Can't stand them. I'm going to go. Obviously, Damage Control is going to lose here. Jade Cargill is going to do minimal work. She'll get the pin. She's going to pin Dakota Kai, and that's how this one is going to crumble. Robin, go ahead.
I'm hyped for this one. I really am. Not because of any story behind it, just because this is a Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair showcase, and they're going to put on a show. People talk about Jade Cargill and whenever she needs work, blah, blah, blah. She is a superstar. You can see it. If you don't see it, you don't have working eyes, or even if you don't have working eyes, you can sense it. You can feel it when she comes out there. It's like that. What did Cyclops say in the X-Men cartoon, the new one? Storm, give him the forecast. They're like Omega level mutant. She's an Omega level superstar, and we know what Bianca Belair can do in the ring. And they sort of hinted at them to having a program together at the Royal Rumble. And I think you're going to see Jade and Bianca just do real damage to Damage Control.
Oh, yes. All right, Justin, what do you think?
So I agree with everything Robin said, and as someone who watches AEW, I loved her work in AEW, and they're kind of treating her, Nick, as you were complaining about Rhea Ripley, they were kind of treating Jade like that because, again, no one could really measure up to her. I not only think that the Jade, Bianca, and Naomi team is going to win, I think then Jade turns on Bianca, and Naomi goes with Jade and becomes her kind of veteran mentor and really starts building up Jade. And then you're going to have a feud between Jade and Bianca for the next few months.
Well, AEW had a big match they could have done with Jade Cargill, and that would have been versus Britt Baker, but they never did it. And now, I don't know. I guess in AEW, the big title is the TBS title because Mercedes Moné, she doesn't want the women's championship. She wants to go for the TBS title. But moving on, Joe, your thoughts on this match?
Imagine the CEO doesn't want the women's world title in AEW. Anyway, you cannot spell WrestleMania without EST. I'm surprised none of you said that already. But yeah, this is a Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill and even Naomi showcase. Because I'll tell you, I think Naomi is super underrated. She always was.
I don't like her new
I'm
song,
happy she
though.
came back. Very, very happy she came back. The central theme of the women's division on SmackDown for the better part of the last 9 to 12 months, especially leading into SummerSlam and the cash-in last year with Io Sky, has been damage control. So for a really long time, I think the crowd has wanted to cheer Bayley, right? So we got that with her Rumble win and the women's.
Bayley's got to
World
come
title
out with the side pony and the
Right.
wacky inflatable men.
I think the image of Jade and Bianca and Naomi all pointing to the WrestleMania sign at the same time, I think that was very, very powerful. I think
All right, so we all have the same winner here. You know, people don't like her, but to me, it's not a WrestleMania without Charlotte. It sucks we don't see her at this. She's always been a great performer. And I think it's Tiffy time already. I can't believe she's not doing anything on this card, but she's going to be the shoo-in for Money in the Bank, I would think. And
this is why we need a battle royal, because we need her on the show.
Foreman says Ripley is the right champion at the wrong time. They had no credible opponents lined up for her. All right, fair enough. I can get on board.
He's the right champion for a long time, because get used to
it. We're gonna have Gunther for 4 years, Roman Reigns for 5 years, and Rhea Ripley for 3 years. Yeah. You
don't like that? I think it has like gravity and importance.
No, I'm okay with 2 long reigns, but like we're gonna have half the titles in this long thing. I don't know, but we'll talk more about that because we got to talk about the title match now. Gunther taking on Sami Zayn. I want to see how does Chad Gable get involved in this. Very curious to see how that plays out. I think Chad Gable, I think he's going to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. If he ends up being in it, we'll see. But the favorite in this is Gunther, but it's not a huge favorite. It's minus 150. Sami Zayn's plus 110. Justin, the big betting guy, what do you do there in that match?
I think it's still Gunther. I don't believe in the story. They just tried to. They obviously had other plans for him for WrestleMania. Yeah. They try to build up Sami Zayn as much as possible. This is trying to become a feel-good story to make them seem like they're on the same level. They're not. Gunther's going to win, but I want to throw it back to you guys very quickly. And that's if let's just say the tag match has already happened, and let's just say that Priest and Balor don't have the titles anymore. Any shot at a cash-in for the IC title. We kind of got that teased.
The Austin Theory way.
We got that kind of teased a couple of weeks ago. It's never been done before. What's he going to do with the briefcase at this point? So it kind of makes me wonder if the placement of the matches would influence that.
Good point.
That's interesting.
That is an interesting point.
Rhea did say on McAfee, why does everybody assume he's going to cash in on Seth? So she also hinted at that. I mean, I'm with you. I think Gunther's going to win this. I did think Sami for a minute there, but now that I see Sami's doing like stand-up comedy and all these other things outside of wrestling, I'm like, okay, maybe not. I see Gunther continuing this dominant reign, and I believe he's the first big program with Cody Rhodes. If Cody does indeed finish his story, and he has the most gravitas to be the challenger.
I think eventually I want to see Imperium turn face to take on the Bloodline. I think Gunther versus Roman would be a big match. But as far as the Priest Money in the Bank, like I can't see a scenario where he's winning a world title. So I always said they should have had it where, he's got 1 day left to cash in, and then R-Truth messes it up somehow so he can't cash in. It expires. We never had that happen before. Joe, who's winning this match, though? Gunther versus Sami Zayn.
I think it's going to be Gunther, too. Yeah. I think he's going to hold the title through because I think he's going to defend it internationally at the Backlash show that they're going to have in
he has
Europe.
Some visa issues. He can't leave the country. But it would make sense to have a big Gunther Clash at the Castle match in Germany, right?
And also with Sami, it's kind of like Cody in the sense where as soon as he wins the title, everything behind the story kind of goes away a little bit. There are some people who just always have to keep chasing, right? And in Sammy's case, it's like, I don't know if even the moment against Gunther is like his ultimate, like, this is it moment. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm very curious to see what will happen with the whole Sami Zayn, Chad Gable dynamic following WrestleMania. I think the way that they've used Gable, despite him not actually wrestling on the main show, has been awesome. I like the Rocky vignettes. Love the performance center things. I love the whole vibe that they're having lately because I think they hired somebody from ESPN recently to kind of do these like video production things. So
The
but
production
anyway,
since Kevin Dunn's gone has been so much better.
it's so immaculate.
And you know what?
Honestly.
It's great. And not to take another shot at AEW, but would it kill them to show a replay at the finish of a match sometimes? Because sometimes I'm like, what the heck happened? Got to rewind. All right. So we are all in agreements there. Now, the tag team match, since Justin, will go back to you. You talked about that. So we're going to get 2 different winners, apparently. I don't understand what the rule is to prevent the first winner from grabbing the other briefcase. They have to touch the floor again. Like you're playing a pickup basketball game. You got to take it out. I don't know how that works, but apparently we're going to get 2 winners. They're going to split the titles again finally. I'm going with Miz and R-Truth are going to win the Raw titles. And the SmackDown titles, I would have said Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, but then I'm reading last week, they might pull them from the match. They don't want them in the match. Pretty deadly. I thought it would have been great. So I think I'm just going to say maybe Judgment Day retains one of the titles. What do you think, Justin?
I think that it's going to be either for the Raw side of it, Judgment Day retains, or DIY wins it for a short time while they, if my Damian Priest theory is in effect, that's kind of how I thought it, how they can kind of get the titles off of them. DIY, they've been kind of hanging around. And I also see if they do actually lose both, I could see New Catch Republic. They got some momentum on their side. They're a very exciting team. And, if you want, I know at this point they're a little bit fresh, but maybe that's a way you go for SmackDown to try to kind of get some energy into that tag division there. People love, I keep wanting to call him Butch, Pete Dunne, and also
Butch.
Tyler Bate as well. And they also have a lot of international appeal as well.
We need Sheamus to come back. That's for sure. Joe, what do you think in this match? And what kind of match do you think R-Truth thinks he's going to be in? I think maybe he thinks he's in the Royal Rumble. He throws somebody over the rope, top rope. That's what I'm thinking for the R-Truth spot. But how's this going to play out?
Yeah, I agree with that. He's going to do something funny as always.
Remember, I told you what he was going to do with the Royal Rumble. I said he was going to be in the women's match, and he was.
You absolutely nailed that. I think it's going to be very obvious what happens, right? Because R-Truth has never had a really, truly big moment in front of fans. So it's very obvious that he's going to pull down the first set of the titles, right? Somebody's going to knock him off, and then the other team is going to pull down the other set of titles. Whether that's Judgment Day and they retain, who knows? But I think moving forward, the idea is that they do want a set of tag titles on SmackDown. And I think over the past couple of weeks, with the tournaments leading into WrestleMania, with the Street Profits, with the Authors of Pain, they're in the other match. I think there are plenty of tag teams now in WWE that you could have 2 credible divisions as opposed to an undisputed set of champions moving back and forth from each show. So
let's remember, the last time we had a ladder match for a tag titles, the winner of the match was not even in the match. The Hardy Boys came out. So we'll see.
That's right.
Mind about the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, there are a lot of rumbles and rumors about them coming back too. I don't think it's going to happen. But I do think that if Theory and Waller actually stay in the match, I do think they're going to win the other set of the titles. So that's something that we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out within the next.
Imagine the Grayson Waller effect with the tag champs. All right, Robbie, what do you think?
I agree. I think it's R-Truth and Miz and Waller in Theory. They're going to win.
Fair enough. All right, now the big match on Saturday night, the big time tag match. Roman Reigns and The Rock.
You're missing one.
What am I missing?
You're missing Jimmy and Jay.
That's a night one? Okay.
That's night one.
All right,
night one has the better card, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right, I've heard a lot of people like Sunday better. I kind of like Saturday better.
Night 2, all it's got is Roman versus Cody. I mean, it's pretty
and
locked.
Seth and Drew's a good matchup.
Yeah, but we know the result of that one is pretty obvious, I think, for
Is
Seth
it?
and Drew. But we'll talk about that shortly. All right, so Jimmy and Jay, I got Jay winning that match. Joe?
I think this match, so this is the rumored match that's actually going to open up Saturday. We'll see what that.
Rhea and Becky said we want to open up the show on Raw.
Well, Becky wants to open it because she's smart. I think Jimmy and Jay is going to open because that's what they're actually going to do. Because I think they want to keep the bloodline story separated. One starts the night, one ends the night. This match, I think, is really it's going to set the tone for the whole weekend. Because if Jay wins, I feel like there's this underlying thing that's going to happen the rest of the weekend. But if Jimmy wins, again, we're going to follow suit. I actually think Jimmy Uso is going to win this match. He's the underdog
too, minus 250.
Is he?
Oh, Jay's the favorite, minus 250.
Jay's the favorite. Yeah, Jimmy's the betting
Jimmy's got to win. It's obvious.
I think Jimmy is going to win. So we've had 3 matches in history, a brother versus brother at WrestleMania. Bret and Owen at WrestleMania 10, Owen wins. WrestleMania 25, Matt and Jeff Hardy, Matt wins. We're 2 for 2 with the heel brother going into Mania and winning. So I have Jimmy Uso winning.
All right, Robin.
I think there's credence to what Joe said, and I think it's possible. But I'm going to go the other way. Jey Uso is so popular. He's so over. Raj, my son who's going with me, that's his favorite wrestler. Main event, Jey Uso. I think, Sammy, if we have Gunther beating Sammy, I think you can get away with a feel-good story to open WrestleMania. And it's possible Jimmy wins to keep this program going, to build Jimmy up and to have Jay overcome more. But Jay hasn't really gotten many dubs. So I do think you start the whole festivities off on a good foot if you leave people going yeet after that first debut match.
Justin, isn't it funny that main event Jey Uso always opens up the show?
You know what? I think that it is actually funny, actually.
But that's the best slot other than the main. I mean, if you think
absolutely, I'd want to open up the show. I don't want to sit around and wait 7 hours to prepare for my match. If I was,
you don't want to be in the middle. Robin is absolutely right about that. That's the bathroom break spot. I think Jay's going to win it. Everything Robin said, and everybody loves him. But also, Jimmy screwed over Jay multiple times, and we're talking chances for the world title against Roman that he had a chance to win. I think Jay seals the story here when it comes between them, and I think that he wins, gets the payoff.
Well, I think Solo's going to get involved, so I think Jimmy's going to pull this one off. So we're 2-2 in this. All right, Robin, you'll go for us with the main event first. Roman Reigns and The Rock, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, this is Avengers Infinity War, WrestleMania Infinity War, lock of the century. Rock and Roman are winning on night one. Cody is eating the pin. It's not going to be Seth. Cody's going to eat the pin because it hurts Seth too much if he loses. I could see it really being Infinity War where Rock and Roman win and then Priest cashes in and beats Seth after all that happens. So like every good guy loses at the end of the first night. Because you remember in Infinity War, it's like Black Panther just disappeared. And Spider-Man's like, Tony, I don't want to go. Like I feel like we're getting that. And I think maybe Rock destroys Cody to set him up for Roman to pin him. Roman pins him, and then all the odds are against Cody in night 2 with the bloodline rules enacted.
All right, Justin.
I'm with Robin here. I think that it is the lock of the century. I mean, why wouldn't it be bloodline rules? You've built up this story for years at this point with Cody. Why not just stack the deck against him further? That way, The Rock can be involved in both nights of WrestleMania. So, and you're not going to have The Rock lose at WrestleMania. Like, let's be honest, at this point, the way he's set up, it's just not happening. There's no reason why Cody and Seth would win. The only thing I disagree with Robin on is the cash-in, only because, Robin, the title match is the next night. So that would be wild, by the way. All of a sudden, the title match for the world title becomes Priest versus Seth, just like that. And you'll have Drew lurking around interfering right and left. But
or it could just be Drew and Seth with no title on the line. And CM Punk is the added, element to that match.
That would be some crazy
why
writing.
Is CM Punk not the referee? I don't want to him on commentary.
He can't move his arm.
Yeah, he's got tricep.
He showed he could use his arm. His left hand.
The best in the world on the mic, the best in the world on commentary. You know how it is.
So who's calling this match? Is it going to be Cole McAfee and Graves? Same thing for the next match, the main event the next night. How are they going to split that up? I would assume they're going to go 3-man booth for the 2 main events.
Yeah, I think Wade is getting taken out, and I think they're going to do the 3-man booth of Cole McAfee and Graves for both nights.
Oh, every match.
That's my guess. That's my guess.
Okay. All right, Joe, who's winning this match?
Acknowledge the tribal chief. The only thing that I disagree with Robin about is I think Seth is eating the pin, because I think Seth is going to have the worst weekend imaginable. It just seems like it's in the cards, because the whole story with Seth leading up to WrestleMania is basically him biting off more than he could chew. He's got to focus on defending the world title, got himself involved in the whole Cody bloodline stuff with the tag match on Saturday night. So it just seems like Seth is going to have a really bad weekend. That's my opinion. And you cannot go into that main event in night 2 without it being bloodline rules. So the build-up here has been amazing, because I think the segment that The Rock and Cody did to end the show in Chicago a couple weeks ago, outside in the back with Cody bloodied up by the bus, I think that was awesome. There's a special tease there. We'll mention that when we get to the main event. But I definitely think Rock and Roman are going to win. I think Solo gets involved. I think the whole thing is, again, like Robin said, this is Infinity War. They're outnumbered, right? They got to smarten up or else the Bloodline's going to eat them up. So the Bloodline will stand tall to end Saturday night.
See, I thought they should have just made this a tornado tag. You have all the run-ins here. It just would have made more sense. Let's jump straight to the main event of night 2 because it's kind of packaged together. And we'll snake back the reverse way, Joe. Cody and Roman Reigns. Who wins?
I still don't know who's going to win this. Do you want my gut feeling?
Well, first I'll give you the odds, which is Cody Rhodes is actually favored at minus 25. Let's keep in mind that CM Punk said he was going to, I guess, win the Royal Rumble until he got hurt. So keep that in mind here. All right, so Joe, what's your gut instinct?
I think Roman Reigns is going to retain again. I think something's going to happen.
So I'm with you on that, and that's why I get the feeling that.
Do you want to know what I think is going to happen?
Well, I go ahead. Yeah,
I'm going to try to call it. We could all try to call, and let's see who's right in the end. I think Seth is going to come out goodwill trying to help Cody, and I think he's going to cost Cody the match. I think Seth is going to have the worst weekend of his life. That's my
I think Roman Reigns is going to win as well, which is why I'm going against you guys on Saturday night. I think that Cody and Seth are going to win because I think they're both going to lose the next night. So I think they'll get a win somehow. I think they'll have all the run-ins in this match. John Cena, you want to say Stone Cold, Solo, Jimmy J. Everyone's going to get involved Saturday night. That's going to be the big run-in match. So I think Cody and Seth squeak out a win on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Roman wins. We don't need tribal chief rules or, whatever, blood rules, because no matter what, he'll still cheat. They'll still have run-ins. The referee will get, he'll twist his ankle and be out for 45 minutes or something. So somebody will run in and Roman's going to win. All right, Justin, Sunday night, Roman Cody.
It's weird. I want Roman to win, but I keep thinking that Cody is going to win. And I try to think back to if the main event really was supposed to be The Rock versus Roman, in which Roman would have retained. The fact that they switched it and Cody's there really going and, panning to the people. I don't know at this point how you don't have Cody win, but the one problem, guys, is what happens to Roman so he doesn't lose all of his momentum off the mountaintop. And I'm trying to think of this way where, I don't know, maybe The Rock screws over Roman and says, I'm the tribal chief. I run this company.
That's the only way I think Cody's winning is if
right. And then Roman, you take him off TV for a few months, and then you can have like a bloodline, who's the leader type of program for SummerSlam, maybe. Yeah. I'm trying to think of ways that Roman can lose because I want Roman to retain, but Cody is, I think, winning.
I think if we get The Rock versus Roman Reigns, it's going to happen in Saudi Arabia. That's where it's going to happen. Right, Robin, how do you think it's going to play out?
No, I think we might get Cody and Rock before we get Roman and Rock. The way this is all unfolded, I think it makes sense to get Cody Rock and then Roman Rock. I think Cody wins. I think it's been too much to get here, too much fan support to get here. I thought last year was brilliant to have him lose, but it feels like he's Captain America in WrestleMania Endgame, standing there against Thanos and the entire army as it's coming. He'll get some help on his left, and he'll win, and everybody will go home happy. As far as Roman goes, yeah, you could say his momentum is lost and everything, but we talked about this earlier in the show. These title reigns are kind of unprecedented, and his stands alone in the modern era, really. Like, you have to go back a long time before somebody held that belt for that long, especially in today's day and age with social media and television shows, multiple television shows a week, a PLE every single month. 3.5 years is a long time.
But it's easy when you don't compete most of the time to hold.
Hey, I think that makes it more special when he does compete.
I agree with that. It makes him box office.
Yeah.
This year, The Rock's been on TV more than Roman Reigns.
Okay. The Rock is on a limited run. The Rock hasn't had the belt for 3.5 years. And it's a send-off for Roman. I think Roman's primed for a face turn event. He's got the ability now to do it in that tribal chief character. Because when I say face turn, you're not going back to the big dog, but The Rock and Stone Cold, when they became faces, they were just, you were allowed to cheer for them versions of their heel characters, right? And that's what I think Roman could do after a little bit of a break, coming back for maybe SummerSlam. It's not out of the question, he wins, but I do think Cody's taking it.
All right, so continuing with the championship matches, Seth and Drew, I think it's a lock that Drew McIntyre is going to win. I mean, he's focusing on this match. Seth Rollins is just, putting Drew aside here. Obviously, this will probably tie in behind the scenes with the new Drew McIntyre contract, minus 600 favorite. Justin, how's it gonna work here?
I think Drew is going to win. The only way he loses is if CM Punk comes back and screws him. But I think Drew's winning this match.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win. I think we'll get Drew and CM Punk at SummerSlam, most likely. Robin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my initial instinct was Drew was going to win, but shout out to Gene Cherry, who does the Needle Wrestling podcast with myself and Dave Sepperson. He threw this idea at me, and it's been sticking in my head. Drew and Punk are in this program, and Drew has been obsessed with Punk. Mm-hmm. So what if Punk distracts Drew, allowing Seth to get the win? I think that's a distinct. In fact, I'm going to go. Why not? I'll differ.
I would love to see that happen because I don't want to see Drew McIntyre be champion. But Clash in the Castle is in Scotland, so he's going to be, huge in that. I would think, Jeff.
Why don't you want to see Drew as champion?
Yeah, Drew's killing it.
Why don't you like the best people?
I don't want to say I don't want to see all these heels. We're gonna have 4 heels coming out of the pay-per-view as champion. It's you gotta have a little bit of balance.
Wrestlemania. Well, here's something that I think is certainly in play. I think Drew could win. Punk attacks him afterwards, and then Priest cashes in. I know everybody's gonna absolutely hate that.
Punk.
Absolutely hate that.
Damian Priest will get booed so badly.
But that's the point.
Well, that's the point, right? Yeah, that'd be good.
And here's what you could do. You could do Priest versus McIntyre the next night on Raw, and McIntyre immediately wins back the title. So it's like you give him two really.
Priest should never be champion.
I mean, we're bordering on a scenario over here where he's running out of time to actually cash in the title. So there's either two scenarios. It's either he successfully cashes in and he immediately loses the title, kind of like the Miz a couple years ago, or he loses the cash in. They had something going with Truth where I think it would have been funny and story purposes would have been great if Truth actually cost Priest the cash in. Yes. That would have made sense. I think like that time has passed for that to happen. So now we have to figure out a way. Okay, what is the most plausible scenario that we could actually incorporate the briefcase into something that we have going on? So I'm just keeping that.
You could have Truth cash in his place.
I'm shocked that hasn't happened yet either. But for the actual world title match, I think Drew will win. Now the Punk stuff, I don't know what's going to happen, but he's out there for a reason, right? So
he's going to get involved, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So U.S. title match, Logan Paul, the champ. He's favored in this to retain at minus 450, taking on Kevin Owens or Randy Orton. This could go either way. I can't see Kevin Owens winning. I think it's going to come down to Randy Orton or Logan Paul. That's where I say. We'll start with you, Robin.
I think Logan Paul retains in this one. I do. I think this could be a really good match, though. It's set up, Randy Orton's just so great with anybody he works with, but the spots he's going to be able to do with Logan Paul, I think you could see one of the sickest RKO spots of all time in this match. Kevin Owens has proven his versatility. I mean, he had that match with Stone Cold a couple years ago, really helping to make him look good.
He's the real Mr. WrestleMania. First time he's not going to be main eventing in quite some time.
So I'll give me Logan Paul celebrating with some prime, but after
let's talk about the center of the ring saying prime for WrestleMania. Ugh.
I'm a fan of prime. I got to admit.
Really?
Real quick. Yeah, quick story. Last summer, Ice Cream Man selling prime. I didn't know what it was. All the kids come over. They're like, hey, we got prime, boys. We got prime. And I'm like, what is this that you're so obsessed with? And I took it and I looked at the back of it and I was like, oh, this is fine. Like it's got it's got artificial sweetener like everything else. There's probably something bad in there, but it's not that terrible. And then I see all these politicians like prime will kill your children. And I'm like, what's going on with that? And then I realized they're talking about the energy drink, which is, by the way, clear. I think they were unfair to Logan Paul and whoever his partner is, KSI, because it's clearly a different product. Like one is in a bottle, the other is in a can. You can differentiate them. But my son was so obsessed with it that I had it around, although I was buying it for him. And then what happens? I start consuming it, and Prime is delicious. I don't care what any of you say.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine it being good. I just don't like the signage on the ring mat.
But it makes Logan Paul more of a heel in a sense. I'm with you in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But it makes, like his whole persona is insufferable prick, and you add to that with the Prime thing.
Right. But Joe, if Logan Paul retains and Roman Reigns retains, then we're still looking at 2 part-time champions on SmackDown unless the draft comes up quickly.
Well, I think Logan. Well, he's never going to be truly full time again because
Logan's going to be champ going into SummerSlam in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. So he is the minus 450 favorite. I just wanted to throw that in there. I think Logan is going to retain, but I think after WrestleMania, I think that budding bromance between the 3 guys, between Theory, Waller, and Logan Paul, I think they're actually going to become like more of an on-screen group stable.
Especially if Waller and Theory
are the tag champs. Yep, that's what I think is going to happen. And Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, despite being around for so long, have never actually had a proper feud against each other. So I think that's also something interesting that's going to come into play because the last couple of weeks they've kind of teased like, I respect you, like.
Yeah, I can't stand their little like friendship. Ugh.
Well, that's why
tonight finally. But I think
they're gonna feud after
win. Like Randy Orton will RKO Kevin Owens, and then he'll push him out of the ring, and he'll take the pin or do a frog splash. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I don't see a scenario where Logan Paul is losing this. I mean, if they built up Kevin Owens a little bit more, I kind of think Randy's there to just bulk up the match a little bit for name recognition, but still, I think if Kevin Owens was pushed a little bit more going into this, I'd say Owens. Logan's retaining, and also the worldwide appeal he'll have with the title, carrying and taking it around, I think will absolutely help with WWE's branding to expand it further.
He takes it everywhere. UFC, live events, and everything. I think
that's why they gave it to him, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's smart. I think it's a great business decision.
See, I just wish we were getting LA Knight, the mega star, versus the social media star and Logan Paul. But LA Knight's taking on AJ Styles. Justin, we'll start it off with you there.
Well, they've already had a fight at Media Day, so that, which is nice. You know what? If you're going to let any of these matches do that kind of thing, they picked the right one with these two because you need to kind of add a little fire to it. I think ultimately LA Knight. If LA Knight loses this, I don't know where LA Knight goes from there. I think to keep his because he's kind of been pushed a little bit to the side because of other storylines and everything. I think that LA Knight has to win this match. And if he doesn't, then the writers are going to bury him and we're not going to see him as much moving forward.
All right. Joe?
This has been one of the most well-built up undercard WrestleMania matches that I've seen in a long time. I think everything has been great. The promos feel personal, right? And I think at first I wanted Logan Paul and LA Knight because I wanted LA Knight to go after the U.S. title. But then I really thought about it, and I was like, these two guys kind of needed a standalone WrestleMania story match for themselves. You know what I mean? And I think both guys have been awesome. Again, it feels really real. I think LA Knight is going to win. I think he's going to get his big moment in front of fans. And I couldn't imagine a perfect opponent to get the most out of him than AJ Styles. And I feel bad because AJ, I forgot where he said this, but recently he's like, my body's starting to give out and he's going to retire soon. So we may be looking at a scenario in the next year or so where AJ Styles officially calls it quits. So I think he needed another big one-on-one match at WrestleMania. I think this is a great moment for LA Knight. I think he's going to win. I think this is low-key going to be the best match Sunday.
I can see that. What do you think, Robin?
I don't know if LA Knight's good enough to have the best match in the ring.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he's fine. And he's over. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, and I agree with Justin's sentiment that LA Knight has to win. There's no upside for AJ Styles at this point in his career, and there's no upside to burying LA Knight. I agree with you on the build as far as the animosity, but this is not one of the matches I'm most excited for. In fact, I would put it down the bottom. Okay. But I think if you ask me, is LA Knight going to win? My answer would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I
think the build to this match has been horrible. Hasn't made much sense. And I think nothing I've seen the last 5-6 months makes me believe that LA Knight can win a match. He loses every match he's in. So I'm going to say AJ Styles wins the match because they just don't want LA Knight near the top. That's what everybody's saying.
AJ Styles plus 350 underdog. LA Knight,
I think he's going to win, but I wouldn't. I would say I would have said that the favorite for Money in the Bank should be LA Knight. So if they do go through with that, it's okay if he loses at WrestleMania because he'll get a big match back. But AJ, he always loses at WrestleMania for the most part, other than the Nakamura year. So we'll say I think AJ is going to win, but I would love to see LA Knight win. Should be a nice ruckus crowd for the entrance. All right, 2 matches left. We'll do the 6-man tag match, the Philadelphia Street Fight, the Final Testament, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I think Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are going to win. They have had horrible success against the Testament the last month and a half. We'll start with you, Joe.
I mean, I love Bobby and the boys.
Boom, boom,
This is just mindless entertainment and violence. A Philadelphia Street Fight. You're right.
Match.
Yeah, it'll probably be like 10 minutes or so. And again, I don't know what the difference is between a Philadelphia Street Fight, a Chicago Street Fight.
I would assume Bobby Lashley will spear Karrion Kross through the barricade.
Absolutely. But Bobby and the Profits are going to win.
All right, Robin.
Yeah, I think so. Bobby didn't get the match last year. He'll get the match this year. Looking forward to see maybe what Montez Ford can pull off in this match. But this is in that grouping of matches, like the last one we just talked about, and the one on night one, the tag match that I'm,
the filler matches.
Yes, exactly. But that's you know what? It's okay. Like, let me get a little rant off for a second. Not every match can be the greatest match of all time or the most anticipated match of all time. If this will probably be entertaining. And in fact, I got to give WWE credit for this. Like, their PLEs have almost all been good in recent times. Like, the bad ones are good, right? Like, that's the standard they've set. So if this is a C+, a C+ isn't the worst thing in the world. We'll all get over it. And if you do need to go to concessions or do anything like that, you need those opportunities as well.
All right. And last thoughts on this one. Go ahead.
I honestly think that the Pride are going to win, but here's the thing. Where does the Final Testament go from there? They haven't been built up at all. Kind of like with what I was saying with LA Knight. The Final Testament needs this match. If they're going to get any kind of momentum, I just don't see them winning. And I don't know what happens to them after that. For some reason, I don't know if it's the writers, but I know we're kind of now with new writers and Triple H running things. Karrion Kross has not been able to get off the ground.
He's just not cut out for WWE. All right, he's more of like a AEW House of Black type of character where you could show up every so often, attack somebody, never really wrestle.
But he's got the look and he's got the demeanor for it. I don't know what he's missing. I mean, to me, it must be wrestling ability because with the way that they've tried to build around him, including this stable too, he should be further along than he is.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens there, but. His first run, unsuccessful. He comes back. Everyone's like, oh, he's going after Roman Reigns. No shot there. All right, last match, which was supposed to be billed as a main event back in January as the Royal Rumble winner, Bayley, wins. She's going after her Damage Control teammate, Io Sky. I still can't believe they're having Io Sky be champion in a solo match for WrestleMania. That's neither here or there. But Bayley's going to win this match. Hopefully she brings back her old music. Gets a nice round of applause. She can't come out with the same song and the same persona. It's just not going to work. Robin, how do you see this one shaking out?
I think Io Sky wins.
Wow.
I like Io Sky. I like Io Sky's matches. And if Damage Control just gets completely decimated on night one, where do they go if then Io Sky loses on night two? So I think Io Sky wins, despite the great story it would be in Coronation it would be for Bayley.
All right, Justin.
I think Bayley is going to win. I think what Joe thinks about Seth Rollins having the worst weekend, I think Damage Control is having that worst weekend, and they're on their way down. They still got the tag title, so you can still do stuff with the Kabuki Warriors. So they're not completely, their momentum's completely not shunned. So they still have that, and you can have Io hang with them. But ultimately, I think this is it for Bayley. I think this is her payoff. She's getting it.
All right, Joe, the biggest Bailey fan there is.
I am.
It's gonna happen.
But surprisingly, I agree with Robin. I think Io Sky is going to win. And I'm going to tell you why. When Bailey was in NXT, she didn't get the title immediately. They made her work, right? And they made her that plucky little girl underdog character, and it worked. It really, really worked. Recently, she turned face. Not everybody was really on board with it yet, and everybody's still not on board with it, right? Because we saw like the tension with Bianca on SmackDown and everything. So I think there's still a story here that has to be played out. So while I do agree with that Damage Control is going to lose Saturday night, I think they're all going to band together, and I think that they're going to help Io retain on Sunday. And I think this is a story that's going to continue on through the summer. I think Bailey will get another crack at the title, and I think the second crack at the title, she's going to win. So yeah, I'm with Robin, shockingly, even though I would really love Bailey to come out and win. And I'm disappointed because everybody wanted Paramore to play her theme song at Mania, and that's not going to happen because the band has other prior obligations and can't make it. So that's disappointing. So hopefully we get that someday soon. But I do think Io Sky is going to retain, shockingly.
All right. Well, that's every match. We went through it. Took us a while. A little quicker than WrestleMania, though. Randy Orton will have a really long entrance. Roman Reigns will have a long entrance. So that right there is an hour of WrestleMania between the two of them entering the ring with The Rock and everything. But, just a huge missed opportunity by WWE not to have Sylvester Stallone be the host of WrestleMania. I thought it would have been perfect.
Can we talk about the set for 1 second?
Go ahead. I haven't seen it yet.
It's disappointing, and I'll tell you why it's disappointing.
There's no Liberty Bell.
There's no Liberty Bell, but again, we have like the Rocky steps too. There's a lot of aesthetically really great visuals about the city of Philadelphia, right? And it's like none of them are incorporated into the show. They have the XL for the 40, which is great because it's about WrestleMania 40. But I do think they kind of mailed it in a little bit this year. Last year was one of the best stages they've ever had. So compared to last year, I think
the best stage was the Orlando one with the roller coaster.
Oh, that's definitely number one.
All right. Rob, any thoughts before we wrap up here?
I like the stage too. I like the entrances. I want Roman Reigns to have a long entrance. That's part of the whole vibe and the whole deal.
That's the time you go to the bathroom, get ready for the long main event.
No. You
that should be a prop bet.
Tribal chief is what you do.
we need prop bets on everything. Roman Reigns over under like 4.5 minutes for his entrance.
Well, for the first time in a long time, we're gonna get no Brock Lesnar busted head on the ring post and no Charlotte moonsault. So you got to think your own. Justin, you got the prop bets. You're the king of the prop bets in the NBA. Anything you think is going to happen here?
All I remember when it comes to entrance prop bets was the Undertaker's entrance was consistently a minute 52 or something like that. So that's the only thing. You know that Roman's going to get like a very special entrance here, especially if he's going to lose this match.
The Rock will have an electrifying entrance. He should anyway. Guys, this has been great. A lot of fun. Really appreciate you joining us here. A lot of people watching right now. We thank you for watching. Enjoy WrestleMania weekend. And for Robin Lundberg and Justin Fensterman, my co-host Joe Calabrese, I'm Nick Durst. And this has been the WrestleMania edition of You Know I'm Right.